Well, who said you had to be a bloke to be a sparky? Plenty of young women working in the trades, they tell me, and I've got two of them here who are.
Fiona Dawson.
And Rylie Keel.
Fiona?
Here.
Where do you come from?
Thornbury.
What do you like about the work?
Fault finding is pretty good.
What's your dad do?
Fitter and turner.
Riley, what about you?
I live in Melton. My dad's a panel beater and love trains.
Well, you were telling me you both love trains, and
Yeah.
Fiona, you love them so much that when you go out with your mates into the city on the train and the horn goes, what happens? They all ask you which train it was.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing. But anyway, what can you do?
And Riley, you were saying also that when you're on a train, you hear it grind and
Yeah, you
you
can
hear
tell,
rumblings.
like-
What do you start thinking?
You can tell how well the train's running, if it's going good or if you're going to see it soon.
You were saying to me before, a bit of theory. You like to look at the diagrams. You like doing the deductive reasoning and the like. Just take us through that.
Especially like the maths and the physics sort of parts in it. And yeah, checking out the diagrams and relating it to your work is pretty good.
And Riley, what about you?
Yeah, same. It's challenging in school, and when you got a train, then there's a problem and you've got to get into fault conditions and see what's wrong with it and try to fix it. Yeah, it's just...
Now, you're telling me too, and Riley, if I could ask you this question, you're very keen on the safety question. It's very important. Is this part of the culture of being an electrician and the union approach?
Absolutely. Like, we're working on 1500 volts DC, so you're not going to get a second chance there.
No, definitely not.
And I want to go home on the weekend, so absolutely, safety first.
Yeah.
Now tell us about when you're out at the party and some bloke sidles up there and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And you say you're a sparky. Give us a view of what actually happens.
I'm not too successful in that department, so so at the moment they're a bit scared, but I'm hoping to change that somehow.
Yeah. Oh, not really.
Yeah. Just lie and say,
lie.
yeah, I'm just going to uni doing something. Nah.
Yeah.
But if they can't handle it, that's their problem.
Fiona?
No, I haven't had much problem. All the guys that I've met and everything seem to be pretty fine about it.
And
They're quite encouraging.
You were saying to me too that you have friends at university, and sometimes they suggest to you that they're doing it hard. They're tired, work's demanding. They don't have any money. Whereas that's not your experience.
No, definitely not. We're working full time, 8 hours a day, also going to school as well, and we've both got a second job as well on the side to sort of keep it up as well. But yeah, we're working pretty hard.
All right,
Very hard actually.
Give us a message for the women who'll tune into the ETU's YouTube site, and they'll see both of you, and they're thinking about a career. Give them a line.
Get into it.
Yeah.
Get out of your HECS debt. Don't bother.
Yep, give it a go. If you're scared of getting your hands dirty, wear gloves.
Yep.
Easily done.
So,
You'll love
Get
it.
into it.
All the best to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
It's certainly an excellent news story to have these ladies in our business. They're making a positive contribution. They got the roles based on merit, and they're performing really well. They're a real asset to the business. They're making such a really positive contribution in the workplace. They get on well with their colleagues and they're progressing well in their studies, which is fantastic. A lot of people think, working on trains is dirty business and not particularly taxing. That's not the case. Yes, you do get a little bit dirty, but it's really quite mentally challenging to be able to get in and problem solve to the level that these ladies and our key skilled staff are problem solving.
The ETU, of course, puts a great deal of emphasis on training its shop stewards. And Chris Hughes has the job at the present time. Chris, can you tell all our listeners and viewers on YouTube exactly what you do?
Okay, yeah, so I suppose at the moment the ETU is putting a lot of time and effort in actually training its delegates about their role on the workplace and to encouraging and building union power through training. So at the moment, I work for the ACTU, and I've come here to facilitate that training for the next couple of months. I suppose in the current IR environment, the essence is probably to be aware of the legislation but not allowing the legislation to limit their role to represent members. So it's really being aware of what the legislation says, but also how we can get round that to ensure that we best represent our members in these trying times. Traditionally, what has happened in cases where we're unable to get organisers or officials onto work sites, members have left work sites to deal with officials outside of that area. And what we have found over the years is that when members leave the workplace to talk to the delegates outside of they're organised outside of workplaces, employers have a tendency to be a lot more interested than to allow officials on site.
Is the environment changing already due to the election of a Rudd government?
There's certainly a shift. We can see certainly a shift in certain employers and others. There's some that still haven't got on board and still think it's the old days. I'd say that the major issue at the union movement at the moment is actually talking through the government to say that you had a mandate to change industrial relations and provide workers with rights, and that's what you should be doing. And we'll be holding them to that promise. I suppose the issue is one of the major problems we have currently with the Rudd government is that the union's quite concerned that the task force should be abolished immediately, and the sooner it's gone, the better.
Are they a bit of a problem for workers, the task force?
There's certainly major restrictions on our capacity to be democratic and to represent members, and I'm quite sure that one of the things the course will be dealing with and organisers is assisting delegates and how they can actually deal with the task force.
Ross?
I work in Latrobe Valley, currently on the pulp mill project at Maryvale.
Good man. And an ETU member since?
Since about 2000, joined out of my apprenticeship.
Sorry, and you love the trade union and think Dean Miles a great secretary, I believe.
Oh, top bloke. You wouldn't find better.
How do you think the ETU is travelling?
Very well. I think holding up to how in the current climate a lot of unions were very strong.
And you think our workers are happy that Dean takes a line of independence on IR questions?
Of course, I think we enjoy being the front runners on a lot of things.
Good. How old are you?
I'm 27.
Is this your first, presumably your first stint at learning about being a shop steward?
I've worn the hat once before,
right.
But this is the first training I've had, so it's very good.
And what do you think you'll get out of this process?
Just a lot of knowledge, a bit of guideline, a bit of guidance on where to go, and I think most of all how I can best serve my members.
Is it fair to say that it's a fairly complex environment to work in these days, the IR environment? You need to know about legislation, you need to know the rules and regulations and know that when you cross lines you can get the union and yourself into trouble?
Yeah, unbelievably. That complex that this sort of training's exactly what we need, you know, to guide us through all that, because, you know, to go in there, go into the workplace with yourself and the management and know nothing is very daunting.
You're already a shop steward.
Yes.
What sort of questions do you get from members?
Look, we have a lot of questions resolving our specific side agreements. Not a lot of it pertains to awards and the broader side of the politics which surround our agreements. But I think that just comes down to basic education on it all. Yeah, I play footy down in Moe.
Who with?
In Latrobe Valley, with Moe Footy Club.
Oh, Moe, do you? Travelling okay this year?
Oh, well, we're looking all right. We just recruited Troy Makepeace, formerly of the North Melbourne Football Club, so he's going to be the coach.
Did you all have to dip into the kick to pay for him?
Funnily enough, Troy's an electrical apprentice. So.
Is he? Well, we'll have to interview him, won't we? Can you tee that up for us?
Oh, we might be able to tee that up, yeah.
Good man. We look forward to talking to you again when the course is completed. You can tell us how you've stood up.
No worries.
Good on you.